Alright guys, we're going to solve some literal equations. Basically, it's where you take an equation and you manipulate it around so a different variable is by itself. Alright, so for instance, we have this equation A equals BH, and they want us to solve it for B. Alright, so that means just get B by itself. So this one's a pretty simple one because all that's happening here is B is being multiplied by H, so we need to divide by H on both sides, and that gives us B equals A over H. Alright, and that's all they're looking for you to do on these. Okay, let's try this one over here. You got P equals 2L plus 2W, and they want you to solve it for W. So any term that doesn't have a W in it needs to be moved to the other side of the equation. Right? Again, we're trying to get W by itself, so we're trying to get everything that's not W on the other side. So we're going to subtract 2L from both sides. Alright, that'll give me P equals, that'll give me P minus 2L equals 2W. And then we still have to get rid of this 2, so I need to divide by 2 on both sides. I can just divide this whole thing. Since all we're trying to do is get W by itself, we don't have to do a whole lot of fancy simplifying or anything. We can just leave it as P minus 2L all over 2. Alright, let's try a couple little more complicated ones. So this next one we've got to get Q equals C plus D over 2 for D. So this D in the numerator right here has to get by itself. So we're dealing with a fraction. Okay, we've done this with other equations. We need to get rid of that fraction as our first step. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2 to get that done. Alright, over here the 2's are going to cancel. So we're going to be left with just C plus D. And then that's going to equal 2Q over here. Then just need to get rid of this C, and since it's being added to D and it's a positive C, we're going to subtract C from both sides. So 2Q minus C equals D. Alright, over here, another fraction, but this time they want us to solve for the denominator, to solve for T, which is in the denominator. We can't get it by itself when it's in the denominator. So our first step, we got to get T out of the denominator. So we do that the same way we did with the 2 on the last problem. We're going to multiply both sides by T. So that gives me VT equals 3K. And then to get T by itself, since these are being multiplied, I need to divide by V. That'll leave us with T equals 3K over V. Alright, so these are a little bit trickier. They want us to solve this one for A, and you'll notice that both terms have an A in it. Okay, so we can't really just get an A by itself because they both have one. Alright, so we got to do a little factoring on this. So remember when you have something and they all share something in common? Greatest common factor. So we can take out what they have in common. So we're going to factor out an A. So that's Q equals, we're going to put an A and then parentheses, and since we're taking it out, we're dividing everything by A. So that's going to leave us with a 3 there, and it's going to leave us with a 5C here. And now, since A is being multiplied by this whole thing in the parentheses, I can just divide by this whole thing in the parentheses, and it'll cancel it out. So A equals Q over 3 plus 5C. Alright, why don't you give this one a try on your own? Pause the video, give it a shot. It's very, very similar to the one we just did. And then unpause it, and I'll walk you through how it works. Alright, so this one, we want to solve for H, and you'll notice that they both have H's, so you can kind of start out in a very similar fashion. Alright, except this time they also share 1/2 as well as an H. So I'm going to take out a 1/2 and an H. And that'll leave us with A minus B. Okay, so there's two different things we have to do here. First thing I'm going to do is take care of this fraction. So remember last page, we canceled out the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. We're going to be able to do the same thing here. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 and multiply this by 2. So that gives me 2A The 2 and the 1/2 cancel each other out. So I'm left with h times a minus b. And then now, like the last problem, if we divide by a minus b, that'll cancel out, and we'll be left with our answer, which is h equals 2a over a minus b. All right, this one, I think I left off what we're solving for, so solve for r. Okay, so you see the r is in the numerator. It's actually an r squared, but we know how to get rid of that squared. We'll save that for the last step, though. So first, we need to kind of take care of all this other stuff around r. So again, I have a fraction, so I'm going to start out by getting rid of that. So I'm going to multiply by 360. So that's 360a equals pi r squared s. Okay, since everything's being multiplied here, I just need to divide by the stuff I don't want to stay there. So I don't want the pi to stay there. I don't want the s to stay there. So those will cancel out. Do the same thing over here. So I have 360a over pi s equals r squared. And now to get r by itself, we need to square root both sides. So r equals the square root of 360a over pi s. All right, and that's it.